Biological sciences estimates 50 to 100 standard years, Admiral. Maybe less if they use those nuclear weapons. Kethmore turned away from the window. The Galactic Council had seen this pattern before. A young species would develop dangerous technology before they learned wisdom. They would poison their world, fight endless wars, and eventually kill themselves off. It was sad but common. The galaxy had strict rules about interfering with such species. They had to prove they could work together before the Council would help them. Have they shown any signs of unity? He asked. None that we can detect, Zara said. If anything, their conflicts are getting worse. They now have weapons that could destroy their entire planet several times over. The Admiral walked toward his office, his heavy boots clicking on the metal floor. Continue monitoring them. Alert me if anything changes, but I doubt it will. They will likely be gone within a generation. 3 months later, everything changed. Zara rushed into Admiral Kethmore's office without asking permission, something she had never done before. Her crystalline body was flashing red with excitement and worry. Admiral, you need to see this immediately. Kethmore looked up from his reports about trade disputes in the Outer Rim. What is it? The humans, sir. Our deep space sensors have detected massive energy signatures in their outer system. The Admiral's 4 eyes all focused on his aide. What kind of energy signatures? Unknown, sir. The readings are unlike anything in our databases. The energy output is enormous. It appears to be coming from multiple locations around their outer planets. Kethmore stood quickly. Show me. They hurried to the station's main monitoring center. The room was filled with beings from a dozen different species, all working at control panels that showed data from across the galaxy. Zara led him to a station where a tall green mantoid was studying displays that showed the Sol system. Report, Kethmore ordered. The mantoid's insect-like head turned toward him. Admiral, we first detected unusual energy readings 3 days ago. Since then, the activity has increased. Look at this. The display showed the human solar system. Earth appeared as a small blue dot, with several other planets orbiting their star. But around the outer planets, there were new signals. Bright spots that had not been there before. What are we looking at? Kethmore asked. We believe the humans are conducting large-scale construction projects, the mantoid said. The energy signatures suggest advanced manufacturing. Mining operations, possibly shipbuilding. Kethmore felt a cold feeling spread through his body. Shipbuilding. Are you certain? The energy patterns match those we see at our own shipyards, Admiral. But the scale is much larger than anything we have ever observed from a pre-contact species. Zara spoke up. Sir, there is something else. We have detected no communications from these construction sites. No radio signals. No data transmissions. Whatever they are building, they are doing it in complete silence. The Admiral stared at the display for a long moment. In all his years of service, he had never seen anything like this. Pre-contact species usually made lots of noise when they built things in space. They sent radio signals. They talked to each other. They celebrated their achievements. But the humans were working in absolute silence. How did we miss this activity during our regular scans? He asked. The mantoid's antennae twitched nervously. The construction sites appear to be hidden inside asteroids, sir. They hollowed out large space rocks and built their facilities inside them. We only detected them because the energy output became too large to hide. That shows planning, Kethmore said quietly. Long-term planning. He thought about what this meant. The humans had been pretending to be a simple, divided species, while secretly building something in their outer system. They had hidden their work inside asteroids. They had maintained complete communication silence. This was not the behavior of a primitive species about to destroy itself. Admiral, Zara said, what should we do? Kethmore was quiet for several minutes. The room continued to buzz with activity around them, but he focused only on the display showing the Sol system. The humans had been watching the galaxy for years, receiving council messages and choosing not to respond. Now they were building something in secret. Double our monitoring of the Sol system, he finally ordered. I want to know everything they are doing. Every energy signature, every movement, every change. Yes, sir, the mantoid said. And send a message to Council High Command, Kethmore continued. Tell them we may have a situation developing with the Earth species. They are not what we thought they were. As he left the monitoring center, Admiral Kethmore felt worried in a way he had not experienced for many years. The galaxy had rules and order because species followed patterns. They developed in predictable ways. They reached out for contact when they were ready. They joined the council when they proved they could work together, but the humans were not following any known pattern. They had stayed silent while secretly advancing their technology. They had hidden massive construction projects in their outer system. They had planned and built in complete secrecy, while the galaxy watched and dismissed them as a failing species. The most troubling thing was simple. If the humans could hide such large projects from council censors, what else might they be hiding? And if they had been watching the galaxy while staying silent, what had they learned about the council during all those years of observation? For the first time in his long career, Admiral Kethmore wondered if the Galactic Council might have made a serious mistake in dismissing the silent planet as harmless. The humans had been quiet for a reason, and now something told him they were almost ready to speak. 6 months after the first energy signatures were detected, the Council's best scientists still could not understand what the humans were building. The construction activity had tripled in size. New energy readings appeared every week, and still the humans maintained perfect silence. Dr. Veltar, the Council's leading expert on primitive species, stood in Admiral Kethmore's office holding a data pad that contained months of analysis. The ethereal's ghostly form flickered slightly as she spoke, a sign of deep concern among her people. "Admiral, our findings are troubling," she said. "The humans have been receiving our first contact messages for over 12 years. Our signals have reached their planet. Their technology is advanced enough to detect and understand our communications. But they choose not to respond," Kethmore said. "Exactly. This suggests they made a deliberate decision to remain hidden while observing us." Dr. Veltar activated her datapad, showing complex brain scan patterns. "We have studied human psychology from intercepted communications and broadcasts. Their cognitive patterns are unlike any species we have encountered." Kethmore leaned forward in his chair. "Explain." "Most species develop either high cooperation or high aggression, Admiral. Peaceful species work together but struggle with conflict. Warrior species excel at fighting, but have trouble building stable societies. Humans appear to have both traits at maximum levels." The Admiral's secondary eyes focused on the data, while his primary eyes watched Dr. Veltar. "That should be impossible. Those traits contradict each other. That is what makes them so dangerous," Dr. Veltar said. "They can work together on massive projects while simultaneously preparing for devastating wars. They can build beautiful art and music while designing weapons that could destroy planets. They can show incredible kindness to strangers while being ruthlessly practical about threats. And they have been watching us for 12 years, Kethmore said slowly. "Yes. While we dismissed them as a failing primitive species, they were studying us, learning our weaknesses, understanding our technology, preparing for something." The door to Kethmore's office chimed. Zara entered, her crystalline body flashing urgent orange. "Admiral, Priority 1 message from Council High Command." Kethmore accepted the message crystal and inserted it into his desk reader. The holographic image of Supreme Chancellor Morden appeared, his ancient features carved with worry lines. "Admiral Kethmore," the Chancellor's recorded voice said, "Council intelligence has made a disturbing discovery. Human ships have been detected in the Tau Ceti system. Repeat, human vessels are operating outside their home system. You are ordered to establish immediate surveillance of the Sol system boundary. Determine their capabilities and intentions. This is now classified as a potential Category 5 threat." The hologram disappeared. Category 5 meant a threat to galactic civilization itself. In 3,000 years, only 2 Category 5 threats had ever been declared. "Zara, get me Admiral Zethkar of the Hegemony Fleet," Kethmore ordered. Admiral Zethkar was a Saurian, descended from reptiles that had ruled their homeworld millions of years ago. His species was known for military excellence and ruthless efficiency. If anyone could handle a potential threat, it was Zethkar. The communication screen activated, showing Zethkar's scaly green face and cold yellow eyes. "Admiral Kethmore, I assume this is about the human situation." "Correct." "What is your assessment?" Zethkar's mouth opened slightly, showing sharp teeth. "My ships detected 3 human vessels near Tau Ceti last week. They were unlike anything in our databases. Strange hull configurations.
Unknown energy signatures.
When my scouts moved to investigate, the human ship simply vanished. Vanished? Not destroyed. Not damaged. They activated some kind of stealth technology that made them invisible to our sensors. My best ships could not track them." Dr. Veltar spoke up. "Admiral Zethkar, What was your impression of their technology level? The Saurians' eyes narrowed. Advanced. Possibly more advanced than ours. Their ships moved in ways that suggest they understand physics differently than we do. Kethmore felt that cold feeling again. Different how? Their acceleration patterns violated several laws of physics as we understand them. They made turns that should have destroyed their ships from gravitational stress, and their stealth technology is beyond anything we have developed. Recommendations? Kethmore asked. Immediate action. We establish a blockade at the edge of their system. 200 ships minimum. We demand they submit to Council authority and explain their activities. If they refuse, we demonstrate Council power with a targeted strike on their outer system installations. Dr. Veltar's form flickered rapidly. Admiral Zethkar, that approach could be extremely dangerous. If the humans have been preparing for contact for over a decade, they may have anticipated exactly this response. They are a pre-contact species, Zethkar said with contempt. Regardless of their recent technological advances, they lack the experience and resources to challenge the Council. A show of overwhelming force will bring them to negotiations quickly. Kethmore thought carefully. The Council had used this approach successfully for thousands of years. Most species quickly agreed to Council guidance when faced with superior firepower, but something about the humans worried him. Zethkar, assemble your fleet at the Sol system boundary, but do not engage without direct orders from me. Understood. My ships will be in position within 1 week. After ending the communication, Kethmore turned to Dr. Veltar. Doctor, what do you think will happen when we make contact? The ethereal's form grew dimmer. I believe we are about to discover that we have seriously underestimated this species, Admiral. The question is whether we will learn that lesson before or after they teach it to us. 1 week later, Admiral Zethkar's fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system. 200 of the Council's most advanced warships took positions in a perfect formation, designed to display overwhelming power. The message was clear: submit or face the consequences. The humans' response came within hours. Every major communication network in Council space received the same transmission simultaneously. It appeared on military channels, civilian broadcasts, trade networks, and diplomatic frequencies. Somehow, the humans had accessed the entire galactic communication grid. The message was simple and broadcast in perfect galactic standard, the official language of the Council. To the Galactic Council, your fleet is positioned at the boundary of our system. We assume you wish to make formal contact. We have been aware of your civilization for many years and have carefully studied your history, laws, and methods of operation. After thorough consideration, we must respectfully decline membership in your organization. We prefer to remain independent. Please remove your ships from our territory. This is our only warning. The transmission ended with data that made Admiral Zethkar's blood run cold. Detailed technical specifications of every ship in his fleet. Complete crew rosters including personal information about each officer. Precise locations of every Council military installation within 50 light-years of Earth. The humans had been watching and learning far longer than anyone had imagined. But what shocked the galactic leaders most was not the intelligence the humans had gathered. It was the final line of the message, delivered in the same calm, polite tone. We know about the Andromedan War. We know about the crystalline genocide. We know about the protective integration of the Tauri and 47 other species who asked for independence. We know what the Galactic Council really is. We will not join willingly. Do not make us join unwillingly. The message spread across Council space faster than the government could block it. For the first time in thousands of years, member species began asking questions about events the Council had carefully hidden. The humans had not just rejected membership. They had revealed that they knew the Council's darkest secrets. Admiral Kethmore read the message 3 times before calling an emergency meeting with his senior staff. When everyone was assembled, he looked around the room at beings from a dozen different species. The humans have made their position clear, he said. They know about us. They have been watching us for years. They understand what joining the Council really means. Sir, Zara said, what do we do now? Kethmore thought about the Andromedan War, a conflict the Council had started to steal advanced technology. He remembered the crystalline genocide, where an entire species was destroyed for refusing to share their knowledge. He recalled the dozens of protective integrations where independent species were conquered and absorbed into the Council. The humans knew about all of it. They had studied council history while staying silent. They had prepared for this moment for over a decade, and now they were giving the council one chance to leave peacefully. Now, Kethmore said quietly, we discover whether the council is willing to accept that some species cannot be forced to join, or whether we are about to make the same mistakes we have made for 3,000 years. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen when the unstoppable force of council authority met the immovable object of human independence. Admiral Zethkar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Inevitable, staring at the human message that had embarrassed the council across the galaxy. His yellow eyes burned with anger and wounded pride. In his 50 years of military service, no primitive species had ever dared to threaten the council. Admiral, his communications officer said, we are receiving orders from High Command. The message crystal arrived within minutes. Supreme Chancellor Morden's face appeared on the main screen, his expression harder than stone. Admiral Zethkar, the human message has caused serious problems throughout council space. Several member species are asking uncomfortable questions about our historical methods. This situation must be resolved immediately. You are authorized to use whatever force necessary to bring the humans to compliance. What are my rules of engagement, Chancellor? Demonstrate council power. Attack their Mars colonies. Make it clear that resistance is futile. When they see their outer settlements destroyed, they will surrender quickly. The transmission ended. Zethkar smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Finally, he could show these upstart humans the price of defying the Galactic Council. Tactical, target the human colonies on the 4th planet, he ordered. Full bombardment pattern. I want those settlements reduced to dust. Yes, Admiral, came the reply from his weapons officer. The attack began at dawn, Mars time. 50 Council warships opened fire on the 3 main human colonies on the Red Planet. Energy beams and missile strikes hit manufacturing centers, residential areas, and the Central Command Complex. The bombardment continued for 20 minutes. When the weapons stopped firing, Admiral Zethkar expected to see burning ruins and desperate surrender signals from Earth. Instead, his tactical officer gave him a report that made no sense. Admiral, the colonies are still there. What do you mean they are still there? Sir, the energy readings show all 3 colonies are intact and operational. Our weapons appear to have had no effect. Zethkar moved to the tactical station and studied the displays himself. The bombardment had definitely reached the planet. The energy signatures were clear. But somehow the human colonies had not been damaged. Impossible, he said. Check our targeting systems. Targeting systems are working perfectly, Admiral. We hit our targets with 100% accuracy. Then why are the colonies still standing? Before anyone could answer, new contacts appeared on the tactical display. Ships were emerging from what looked like empty space around the outer planets. First 10 ships, then 50, then 100. They seemed to appear from nowhere, as if they had been hiding in some kind of invisible cloak. Admiral, his sensor officer called out. Unknown vessels approaching. They are not matching any designs in our database. Zethkar watched the display as more human ships appeared. Their hulls were sleek and dark, almost invisible against the black of space. They moved in perfect formation, but their acceleration patterns were impossible. They turned and stopped in ways that should have crushed their crews. How many ships? He asked. 200 and counting, Admiral. They are surrounding our fleet. Sir, the communications officer said, we are receiving a transmission from the human vessels. Put it through. The main screen activated, showing a human female in a dark blue uniform. She had short brown hair and calm green eyes that reminded Zethkar of a predator studying its prey. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force, she said. You have just attacked civilian colonies on Mars. 37 civilians were killed in your bombardment. This was an act of war. Impossible, Zethkar said. Our sensors show no damage to your colonies. Admiral Chen's expression did not change. Most of our colonies are deep underground, protected by defensive systems you cannot detect. But the people you killed were in surface installations. They had families, children. I am Admiral Zethkar of the Galactic Council Hegemony Fleet. You will surrender immediately and submit to Council authority. No, Chen said simply. You attacked us without warning. You killed our people. Now you will face the consequences. You are outnumbered, Zethkar said. My fleet has 200 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy. Your fleet has 200 ships built using 3,000-year-old technology. Chen replied. "We have spent 15 years studying your weapons, your tactics, and your weaknesses. Did you really think we would let you position a fleet at our doorstep without being ready for this exact situation?" The human ships began moving into attack formation. Their movements were unlike anything Zethkar had ever seen. They seemed to flow around his ships like water, taking positions that gave them perfect targeting angles while making it impossible for the Council fleet to concentrate their fire. "This is your final warning," Admiral Chen said. "Withdraw your fleet now or we will destroy it." Zethkar felt his pride burn hotter than his anger. "You dare threaten the Galactic Council? We have maintained peace for 3,000 years. We have the combined military might of 47 star systems. And we have been preparing for this fight longer than you have been alive," Chen said. "Last chance, Admiral." Zethkar cut the transmission and turned to his weapons officer. "All ships, open fire. Destroy them." What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for generations. The Council fleet fired first, launching their most powerful weapons at the human ships. Energy beams and quantum torpedoes filled space with deadly light. But the human ships moved like nothing the Council had ever seen. They twisted and turned through the incoming fire, avoiding 90% of the shots. The few weapons that did hit seemed to have no effect, as if the human ships were protected by shields that absorbed all energy. Then the humans fired back. Their weapons were not the massive energy cannons or torpedo launchers the Council used. Instead, they fired small projectiles that moved faster than anything the Council sensors could track. The projectiles seemed to ignore shields and armor, punching through Council ships like they were made of paper. Within 5 minutes, 20 Council ships were destroyed or disabled. The humans had not lost a single vessel. "Impossible!" Zethkar shouted. "How are they moving like that?" "Admiral," his science officer said, "their ships appear to be using some kind of gravitational manipulation technology. They are creating tiny black holes to change their momentum without affecting their crews. And their weapons? Unknown projectile system, sir. The rounds appear to be moving at significant fractions of light speed. Our shields cannot stop them because they are not energy weapons." Another wave of human projectiles hit the Council fleet. 10 more ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The Inevitable shook as several rounds punched through its armor, but the flagship's heavier construction kept it from being destroyed. "All ships, tactical retreat pattern 7, Zethkar ordered. "Admiral," his communications officer said, "the human commander is requesting to speak with you." Admiral Chen's face appeared on screen again. She looked exactly the same as before, calm and professional, as if she was discussing the weather instead of a battle. "Admiral Zethkar, you have lost 30 ships and 400 crew members. We can destroy your entire fleet within the next 10 minutes. Are you ready to listen now?" Zethkar wanted to keep fighting, but he was not stupid. His fleet was being destroyed by an enemy that seemed to know exactly how Council ships worked. Every Council tactic was being countered before it could be effective. "What do you want?" he asked. "We want you to leave," Chen said. "Take your remaining ships and return to Council space. Tell your leaders that humanity is not interested in joining their organization. If you come back, we will not be as merciful as we have been today." "Merciful?" Zethkar's voice was full of disbelief. "You destroyed 30 of my ships." "Admiral, we could have destroyed all 200 ships in the first 5 minutes of this fight. We chose not to because we hoped you would see reason. We are not interested in conquest or empire building. We simply want to be left alone. The Council will not accept this defeat." Admiral Chen's calm expression finally changed. Her green eyes became cold as winter. "Then the Council will learn that humanity has been preparing for war longer than your species has existed. We know about your military bases, your fleet positions, your supply lines, and your weaknesses. We have studied every battle the Council has fought for 3,000 years. If you want a real war, we will give you one. But I promise you, Admiral, it will not end the way you expect." The transmission ended. The human fleet began withdrawing, their ships disappearing into the same invisible stealth fields they had emerged from. Within an hour, the Sol system appeared empty again, as if the battle had never happened. Admiral Zethkar stood on his bridge, looking at the debris from 30 destroyed Council ships floating in space. His pride was gone, replaced by something he had never felt before in battle: fear. The humans had not just defeated the Council fleet. They had made it look easy. They had technology that seemed impossible, tactics that had never been seen before, and most importantly, They had shown mercy to an enemy that had attacked them without warning. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Council had been the strongest military force in the galaxy. They had never met a species that could challenge their power. That had just changed. As his damaged fleet limped back toward Council space, Zethkar knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The humans had proven that the Council was not invincible. They had shown that advanced technology and careful planning could defeat even the largest fleet. Most importantly, they had demonstrated that they were not afraid of the Galactic Council, and that terrified him more than any weapon they had used. The news of Admiral Zethkar's defeat spread across Council space faster than official reports could contain it. For the first time in 3,000 years, a Council fleet had been destroyed by a pre-contact species. The shockwaves of this impossible event reached every corner of the galaxy. On Vorthan Prime, High Admiral Kethmore received the battle reports in his private office. The numbers were brutal. 30 ships destroyed, 400 crew members lost, and the remaining fleet forced to retreat. But what worried him most was not the military defeat. It was what the defeat meant. "Sir," Zara said, her crystalline body flickering with nervous energy, "emergency reports are coming in from across Council space. Member species are demanding explanations. Some are questioning Council military supremacy for the first time." Kethmore studied the tactical analysis of the battle. The human ships had moved in ways that violated known physics. Their weapons had penetrated Council shields as if they did not exist. Most troubling of all, they had shown perfect knowledge of Council military tactics. "They have been studying us for 15 years, he said quietly. "While we dismissed them as primitives, they were learning everything about our capabilities." "Admiral," Zara continued, "there is something else. Our intelligence networks are reporting unusual activity in several star systems. Species that have been quiet for decades are suddenly showing increased military preparation." Before Kethmore could respond, his secure communication system activated. The holographic image of Supreme Chancellor Mordoon appeared. His ancient face twisted with rage. "Admiral Kethmore, the Council is in emergency session. Member species are panicking. Some are even suggesting we negotiate with the humans. This situation must be contained immediately. Chancellor, what are your orders?" "We are assembling the largest fleet in galactic history. Every available ship from every member species. The humans may have surprised Admiral Zethkar, but they cannot stand against the combined might of the entire galaxy. Sir, with respect, the battle reports suggest the humans have technology far beyond our understanding. Perhaps we should consider..." "Consider what?" Morden's voice was like ice. "Surrender to a single planet. Allow one primitive species to destroy 3,000 years of galactic order. Never. We will crush them completely and use their defeat as an example to any other species that thinks about challenging Council authority." The hologram disappeared, leaving Kethmore alone with his doubts. He had spent his entire career believing in Council superiority. But the battle reports told a different story. The humans had not just won through luck or superior numbers. They had outfought, outmaneuvered, and outsmarted the best military force the galaxy had ever seen. 3 days later, the first reports of human activity outside the Sol system began arriving. The pattern was always the same. Human ships would appear in systems where Council forces were oppressing local populations. They would broadcast messages in the local language, offering support to any species that wanted independence from Council rule. The Tauri were the first to respond. Dr. Veltar materialized in Kethmore's office, her ethereal form more translucent than usual, a sign of extreme distress among her people. "Admiral, we have a crisis developing in the Tauri system," she said. "The humans have made contact with the local population." "What kind of contact?" "They broadcast detailed evidence of how the Council conquered the Tauri homeworld 200 years ago. They showed records of the original Tauri government requesting peaceful independence. They displayed documentation of Council military actions that were never made public." Kethmore felt that familiar cold sensation. What was the Tauri response? "Revolution, Admiral. The Tauri have declared independence from the Council. They are demanding that all Council forces leave their system immediately. And the humans? 3 human ships are providing technical support to the Tauri resistance. They have given the rebels advanced weapons and shield technology. Our garrison is completely outmatched." This was Kethmore's worst fear realized. The humans were not content to defend their own system. They were actively encouraging rebellion across Council space. They were sharing their advanced technology with oppressed species. They were turning the galaxy against the Council. Doctor, how many species are in similar situations to the Tauri? Dr. Veltar's form flickered rapidly. 47 species were integrated into the Council through conquest rather than voluntary membership. If the humans continue this pattern, we could face galaxy-wide revolution, Kethmore finished. Over the following weeks, the situation deteriorated rapidly. Human ships appeared in system after system, always offering the same thing: freedom from Council control. They provided advanced weapons, defensive technology, and most importantly, detailed records of Council crimes that had been hidden for centuries. The Andromedans, whose homeworld had been destroyed in the war the Council started to steal their technology, rose up on their colony worlds. The crystalline survivors, thought to be extinct after the genocide, emerged from hidden refuges with human support. Dozens of species that had been quietly oppressed for generations suddenly found the courage to fight back. But the humans did something unexpected. They did not conquer the species they helped. They did not demand tribute or loyalty. They simply provided support and then left, allowing each species to govern itself. Admiral Zethkar, his career destroyed by the Sol system defeat, met with Kethmore in a secure facility on Council Station Alpha. The Saurian's scales had lost their shine, and his yellow eyes looked haunted. "They fight like no species I have ever encountered," Zethkar said. "Not for territory or resources or power. They fight for ideas." "What do you mean?" "Freedom, Admiral. Justice, independence. These concepts drive them more powerfully than any weapons we possess, and they understand something we have forgotten, which is that oppressed populations will fight harder for freedom than oppressors will fight to maintain control. The humans are not just providing weapons to rebels, they are providing hope." Kethmore studied intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Human ships were operating in over 30 star systems simultaneously. They were coordinating rebellion activities, sharing technology, and providing strategic support to independence movements. Yet no human fleet larger than 5 ships had been detected anywhere. "How many ships do they have?" he asked. "Unknown," Zethkar replied. "Their stealth technology makes accurate counts impossible. But based on their operational pattern, they must have hundreds of vessels, possibly thousands. Built where? We would have detected construction on that scale. That is what terrifies me, Admiral. We have been watching their system for over a year. We have detected no massive shipyards, no industrial expansion, no signs of large-scale military production. Yet they continue deploying new ships with technologies we cannot understand." Kethmore realized the horrible truth. The humans had not just hidden their preparation for war. They had hidden their entire industrial capacity. While the Council watched their home system, the humans had been building their fleet in secret locations across the galaxy. "How long have they been planning this?" he asked. "Since first contact," Zethkar said. "Maybe longer. Every message we sent them, every cultural broadcast they intercepted, every piece of information about the Council they gathered, it was all intelligence gathering. They have been preparing for this war longer than some of our species have been Council members." A priority message arrived from Council High Command. The emergency session had reached a decision. Every available ship from every member species would gather at the Nexus Point, the central hub of Council space. The largest fleet in galactic history would then proceed to the Sol system for a final, decisive battle. 3,000 ships, Kethmore read. Every capital Vessi,